Hi you! What up? Welcome to my channel. Welcome back. It's me, Maryam, and today it's time for Faves X Fails for the month of November, filmed in December, a roundup video in which I talk about all of my favorite products for the month while applying them to my face to create this look that you see here, using all of my favorite products, but not my fails. But in this video, I will also talk about the products that did not work for me, the fails, and tell you why they did not work for me. So with that said, I hope you enjoy this one. Thank you for watching and for subscribing. Share this video wherever it is shareable. Hit that notification bell and a thumbs up so you could watch all of my Wednesdays and Sundays videos. And now let's get into this one. Faves X Fails for the month of November. Let's see. How many hits do we have this month? Let's find out. Alrighty, so in today's video, I kind of want to rearrange the order in which I apply the products to my face. So instead of starting with my face base, I want to start with eyes. So of course I'm gonna grab my favorite eyeshadow primer of all time. Where did she go? Ah yes, my Fenty. This is not a monthly favorite, this is an all-time favorite. Oh, and also before I go on, I am wearing my gloves today, and I noticed in the comment section some people are concerned that I'm wearing gloves because people are making fun of my self-tanner on my hands, but it is actually not for that reason at all. I am wearing these gloves for me. Like I mentioned before a few videos ago, I do have a skin condition on my hands that I tried to hide with self-tanner, but these lights are unforgiving and I can see everything. So I am literally wearing these because I like the look, and I'm doing this for me, solely for me, because it makes me feel better, okay? Moving right along, lids are primed. Now let's move on to some favorite eyeshadow palettes for the month of November. This month I actually tried a shit ton of eyeshadow palettes. It was like more eyeshadow palettes than normally. I guess because we've had a lot of holiday collections and there's just been like an influx of color cosmetics. So I'm just gonna tell you what my top favorites are, and then I'm also gonna tell you the ones that I did not like, aka the fails, but I'm not gonna mention and like rank every single one that I tried. The palettes that I didn't mention in this video are basically somewhere in the center. They're not faves, they're not necessarily fails, so there's that. All right, so number one on my list this month was actually the Laura Lee Los Angeles Whimsical Nudes palette. First of all, this matches my background. Secondly, inside, this is just the most gorgeous, neutral, but elevated color compilation that I have seen as of lately. This to me doesn't scream holiday, and it also doesn't really scream fall, but it's kind of like the best of both worlds. It's a little bit of holiday combined with fall, combined with just like everyday neutral glam. I specifically love these three eyeshadows right here on the bottom. The Sweet Willow, which is like a metallic, evergreen, foresty goodness. I don't know how to describe it, but it's just such a stunning color that even if I didn't like any of the other eyeshadows in this palette, I would still keep it for this color. I also really love the shade Bronze Meadow, which also has a little bit of a green undertone, so these pair perfectly together. And then also this shade called Wintergreen, which is just like a beautiful, beautiful olivey color. To me, I don't really see these colors being represented very often in palettes, and the fact that Laura Lee and her team did this is just like making me happy. I really like this. And also the quality of this eyeshadow palette is superb, and get this, it is only $36. I feel like that's a really, really, really reasonable price. Second palette that I really love this month is actually surprisingly the NATASHA DENONA Retro Glam palette. I say surprisingly because I was by no means interested in these colors when I first saw this color story online. I thought this was really, really muted, borderline boring. Not even borderline. I was bored with this color story when I first saw it. But then when I saw this with the naked eye, I realized that this palette was just not photogenic. I actually think it's a lot prettier in person. I think it's a lot more interesting in person than it looks online, and also it just performs really, really well. This is double the price of the Whimsical Nudes. This is $36, this is $69, so almost double the price, but I really, really love both. And I like the fact that they're both kind of like nudie with a hint of green. It just feels kind of refreshing to me. It feels interesting. It feels different from everything else, you know? There were a number of other palettes that I liked, but I won't get into that. You can go and watch my previous videos, my testing new makeup videos for the month of November and things like that. Instead, I'd rather talk about some failed palettes that I thought were just really, truly boring. I am talking about the entire Too Faced holiday collection. All the palettes that I saw were just really, really, really redundant. I've seen them before year after year. The quality of these Too Faced eyeshadows has not really changed. They've always been dry and they've always applied kind of patchy, and they still do. And specifically, I'm talking about the You Drive Me Glazy palette. I will pop it up. This is a $48 palette and it just doesn't do anything for me. I actually gave this palette away to Lee's niece, who's 18. I think even she was bored by it. She did not have like a big smile on her face. I don't know who this is intended for. I know these holiday collections come out every year from various brands, from Too Faced, from MAC, from NARS, but specifically the Too Faced ones are just such redundant palettes. It just feels like they do the same thing year after year. So it no longer excites me. I'm sorry to be this harsh, but this is just how I feel about it. I really don't understand like who the target audience is. If it's not me, if it's not an 18-year-old, who's it for? But you let me know. You let me know if you disagree with me, because I would love to have this conversation. All right, so now that I've said that, let me just show you why I love these two palettes so much. I'm probably gonna mix and match a little bit. Since they both have green, since they both have some neutral shades, I'm gonna go for something a little bit neutral today. I may or may not go to an event tonight. Haven't decided yet. I said I was gonna go, but I'm kind of tired, I'm kind of beat, so maybe I won't. But just in case, I still want to look good, you know? All right, so I'm gonna dip my Dose of Colors blending brush into the shade here called Fae. Looks like a fawn type of color. You know what I mean when I say that? It seems like every eyeshadow that's named fawn is like this grayish, greenish, neutrally beige type of shade. So I'm just gonna pop that into the outer portion of my eye socket just to darken it a pinch, like that. Obviously repeat that on the other side. I cannot believe it's December already, by the way. I don't yet have my tree. We need to go tree shopping. I'm not sure what theme I want to do for this year. I'm actually not even sure if I'm in the holiday spirit this year. But I don't know. Having a tree always makes me feel better around the holiday season. It just makes me feel more festive, and it smells so great. My cats love it, you know? So I think I'm still gonna do the tree. I'm just not as enthused about it this year as I was the previous few years. I think I started putting up the tree in 2019, right before COVID. And then we decided to keep the tradition and do it every year because it really did brighten up the holiday spirit during COVID, you know? But now this year, I don't know, maybe I'm feeling the blues. I don't know what it is, but the holidays always make me think about family, and I don't really have a large family in America. I am a first-generation immigrant. I came here with my parents when I was 10, and literally that is the only family that I have in America. My parents, and then my brother and sister who were born here. And then I have Lee's family, which is my extended family. And of course I have my friends, but they all have families, so I don't know. I guess like the holiday season to me this year feels like it should be for a large family, you know? Okay, I hope I'm not depressing you with my talk. Oh, by the way, I think I forgot to mention that I used this shade Lucy to blend out. Moving on. All right, so now that I've, you know, did the thing to the eye socket, so now I want to go in with the Laura Lee Los Angeles palette. I'm going to grab this Winter Fern greeny shade, and I want to deepen this gradient. I want to add that right here to that outer V. Outer V is such a old school YouTube term that I think I might have gotten from Marlena Makeup Geek from those days back when I used to watch YouTube and dream about making a career of it. I had no idea then that it was going to become my career. All right, so then I'm gonna go back to the same brush and blend that out. I'm not really blending it, I'm more just like lifting it up and smoothing it out, if that makes sense. Because I feel like blending would give you more of a transition between the three shades, but instead I'm just trying to smooth them into one another so it doesn't look like a gradient, but so that it also doesn't look like a harsh transition between the light and the dark. There we go. Next up, I'm gonna grab this Bronze Meadow on a brush all over the movable lid, filling in that space. But I'm actually trying to be pretty precise with it. I'm trying to keep this shade contained so that it doesn't look too glam or too dramatic. I don't want it to be like this all over glammy night look. I mean, I do, but I also don't. But ultimately, I just want to show you why these two palettes are my faves this month. Because they're just so different and so easy to use. And the shades feel so, so nice. Quality is outstanding. Honestly, this Whimsical Nudes just may be my favorite palette from Laura Lee Los Angeles. Heck, it is my favorite palette from Laura Lee Los Angeles. Yep, I said it. It's just so wearable. And I love the feels. It's just like a feel-good type of palette. All right, so now that I've applied that where I want it, next thing I'm gonna do is reach for that Sweet Willow. Beautiful, beautiful shade, Sweet Willow. I'm gonna grab a Laura Lee Los Angeles brush, either L17 or L19, I'm not sure. The number has rubbed off. Think I use this to like mix some acetone or something like that. Don't ask, but the number has rubbed off. I'm gonna pop that right in the inner corner. How good is that? How satisfying is that shade? I'm gonna spread that across, make them meet, make them melt into each other. Also, this color is so complicated. There are so many flecks of different color sparkles. I'm looking at it really, really close. I'm seeing turquoise sparkles, I'm seeing golden, and I'm seeing like a lime green sparkle. So it's a really complicated, very unique type of shade. And I just think it's so flattering. So pretty, just so pretty. It just opens up the eye. There's a huge difference between this look and this look, which this one is fine. It's very dark and demure, but this one just is so ethereal. There's something so fresh about it. Definitely gives me that enchanted forest, secret garden vibe, you know? Basically, I'm just applying the majority to the inner portion, but then I'm stretching it over the lid and just making sure that the blend is seamless. Oh, yes. Too good. All right, so now that I've done that, I'm gonna take a clean brush, something flat like this. I'm gonna dip into the shade Cloud Blossom, and I'm gonna add that underneath the brow bone and just clean up everything. By the way, if you have a strong brow bone or if you have a strong brow like I do, there's a trick to bring more light underneath your brow by placing a very light eyeshadow right here underneath the strongest part of your brow. I do this ever so often because my brow bone isn't strong, but my brows are kind of on the heavy side. They've always been. And so sometimes if I'm wearing a smoky or a darker eyeshadow, I want to make sure that I separate the space between my lid, my crease, and also my brow. And I do that by placing a light matte eyeshadow in between, just like that. It just brings so much more light to this area, and it no longer makes your eye or your brow bone look heavy. And then of course you want no harsh lines, so you just want to make sure that you pop that remaining eyeshadow in there. Just whatever's remaining on the brush, just gently brush it like that. Beautiful. All right, I'm gonna close out these palettes for now, and let's move on to some other categories. Also, with these two eyeshadow palettes, there's absolutely no fallout. So now I can easily move on to my skin. So for the skin, I'm gonna reach for my primer, which I am still loving the DANESSA MYRICKS Yummy Skin Blurring Balm Powder. It is just the best for me because my skin is oily. This is able to control my oils. I'm gonna use my finger, using the universal clear shade, just applying that to the areas that tend to get very oily on me, which is right here, the pore zones, around the nostrils. This also helps to smooth any texture, any bumps you may have. I mean, I've talked about this so much in so many videos, and I feel like a broken record saying it. This is a product that needs to be stretched across your skin surface, not really patted in. It literally needs that stretch across. And once you've stretched it out enough, then it starts feeling more like a powder rather than a balm. Time for foundation. I am still loving the HAUS Labs by Lady Gaga Triclone Skin Tech Foundation. Shade that I'm wearing is 260 Light Medium Cool, which is actually an olive undertone, which I actually probably should not have gone for an olive. Given the fact that I'm wearing a green eyeshadow, I may look a little too green, but not to worry because I will counterbalance that. So for now, I'm gonna grab my e.l.f. Complexion Duo brush, which is, by the way, a dupe to the IT Cosmetics Complexion Perfection brush. They are literally the same brush, though this one is not as great quality. I just pulled out a hair that was sticking out, but it's like a fraction of the cost. I'm gonna go ahead and smooth that over the perimeter of my face. I know some makeup artists like to tell you that you need to apply your foundation to the center of the face and then smooth it out, but most of my problem zones are in the perimeter of my face. In the center of my face is where I have my enlarged open pores, but I also have my freckles there, so I don't want to apply too much foundation to the center. In fact, I want to cover up some of these acne scars and bumps that I have in my jawline, and I don't want to apply too much foundation to the center where I have my pores because I feel like that maximizes them for some reason. But you can of course do whatever works for you. I just wanted to give you an alternative. Like, I always get these little bumps on my jawline. I'm not sure what that has to do with diet or stress, but like literally always. They're so frustrating. And right now my skin is on the good side, but you know, I'll always find something to complain about. Actually, not so bad. Not so bad, not too olive, just like the right amount of olive. This is a really great foundation. I loved it last month. I'm still loving it. do have a full review and wear test. I really like this one. It's glam, but it can be sheared out the way that I'm doing it for something a little bit more wearable and natural. I feel like that's enough for me. I don't know. I like it. I'm not mad at myself. I want to make sure there's no gaps. And before I move on to concealer, I do want to apply my blush. This month I am loving Persona Cosmetics Blush Multi-Stick in the shade Jam. That was the little cap that fell off. This is such a stunning color. It gives you that beautiful cold girl makeup look. Perfect for the season. Also, perfect for balancing green eyeshadows. Then I'm gonna grab another brush. This one is the IT Cosmetics one now. I've actually been using it for foundation and blush, specifically for blending them together. And I'm gonna very easily and quickly blend that into my skin. This just melts so beautifully. I am just such a huge fan of Persona Cosmetics blushes. All their products, really. The blush shades are stunning, just so stunning. And this is the perfect wintry shade. It's pink, but it's not a summer pink. It's like a cold weather pink, literally. Jam is the name, and it is definitely my jam. I'm gonna add some to the nose as well. She's cold. She's adorable. Alrighty, and now I'm gonna move on to my concealer. Don't have any fails in the foundations or blushes or concealers category, so I am just gonna continue on with the same. I'm gonna go for my Benefit Boi-ing Cakeless Concealer. I've been using less and less concealer lately. One, because I don't really have a dark circle issue. Or at least like my issue is not really an issue. I have dark circles, but it's not really like a problematic type of situation. I'm gonna blend it out with my favorite Rare Beauty concealer brush. Love this one so much. Blend out this area around the nose. Then the eyes. I'm gonna start with the outer portion and kind of just use it to clean up the shadow a little bit. Not so much, but a little bit. Like that, so that it's subtle, you know? No harsh lines. And then finally, the inner portion, which is where I have some darkness. That looks so good. I'm gonna set that quickly with my Dominique Cosmetics Translucent Setting Powder, which is one of my favorites for the under eye and also for smoothing. It's a really good alternative to my one size translucent setting powder. I tend to use this one or the one size, just whichever one I have handy, but I love them both. They're very similar, I will say. I'm gonna set that lightly, just like that. And then I'm gonna set all the areas that I concealed. And then I'm gonna move on to my new favorite all over the face powder, which, by the way, is only $6. Essence 16-hour cover and last powder foundation. I don't use this as a powder foundation. I just use it as an all over setting powder. I also don't use the included sponge because that releases way too much product and makes it literally a powder foundation. I specifically use this as I would with my Charlotte T Airbrush Flawless finish. So basically I just take a puff and I gently set my entire face, including the blush, the jawline, the chin, the nose, and of course the forehead. This powder is so smooth, not only with texture, but also with color. I feel like some powders apply patchy, although they set your face, but they don't give you an even tone of color. But this one really does. Maybe because it's a concentrated powder foundation, but I really love it specifically for setting the face. It just works so well for me. It's definitely a fave this month, and it's probably gonna stay that way for many months. I told you in my previous video that I'm never not going to not apply my Bare Minerals Original Veil. This is the magic dust that hides pores, and it keeps them hidden for hours. So if you notice, I did not apply any powder to the center of the face. I am specifically only using the mineral veil for that. This is just like my newly rediscovered technique. So I wanted to share it with you once again, in case you are someone who has texture or enlarged pores or any minor bumps. Why did I say it like that? It just makes the skin texture super smooth. If you have fine lines, this may even work on fine lines. I don't have those yet, thanks to my oily AF skin, but I have other issues such as pores and bumps. There we go, so good. I want to be the spokesperson for this Bare Minerals Original Mineral Veil. This product is my ride or die. I've been using this since high school, and then I forgot about it, and now I remember how great it was, and that I'll never ever not apply it to my face ever again. Damn, I'm looking kind of fierce. I feel like I don't really have any fails to mention in the powder category. I'm pretty pleased with everything that I've been trying, so I guess I might as well show you my other favorite new palette for the cheeks. I'm talking about the NARS Holiday Rising Star palette. This one is absolutely breathtaking. It is so visually pleasing. It is just beautiful to look at. But also what I love about this palette is all the shades. We have all the gorgeous wintry shades. We also have a coral, which to me is like my everyday go-to because my skin is on the golden side, so corals usually look very natural and just very real on me. We also have like a nudie shade and a gorgeous highlighter. So this to me is like the perfect winter palette. So I'm gonna go ahead and use it. I've been enjoying this one a lot. I will say this is probably my favorite shade, and especially with the green eyeshadow that I have going on today. And on top of that jam cream blush, this will look stunning. I'm gonna start off with just a little bit, and look how alive that looks. That just looks so chic, so stunning, specifically with the green. This is like my favorite wintry combo. I always say that if you're wearing green eyeshadow, you need to add cool pink to your face. I mean, coral works also, but it's not as staggering of a difference, and it's not like as dramatic or as poppy as a cool pink. So this, to me, is like perfect. All right, let's add that to the other side. Also, I like that these blushes have a little bit of a reflect, but they're not metallic. They're not in the metallic category. They're just like slightly satiny. So this comes off as skin perfecting rather than skin highlighting, you know? So if you have imperfect skin, if you have texture, if you're worried about crow's feet or whatnot, this will help. All right, I'm also going to dip into the highlighter because it is gorgeous. And this highlighter is unique too because it has a nudie but lavendery sort of reflect. Look at that. It has beautiful slurry formulation, so it really melts with the skin and it highlights the best part of your skin. It works brilliantly with this blush. I will say this is probably my favorite item from all the holiday collections that I've tried so far. Outside of this Bobbi Brown palette that I need to make a video on because that one is like on level 100. This one is a 10, but it is amazing. It is a keeper, even though it's $60 and it's pricey, but this will last you a while. It gives you special vibes, like you're a star, you know? I love it. All right, should I complete my eye look or should I move on to lips? Let's move on to lips because I have more favorites in the lip category. And actually, this favorite that I'm gonna talk about right now is not a new product by no means. It's been around for at least 10 years, but I recently rediscovered it. I talked about it in my previous video. The Gerard Cosmetics lip pencils are incredible, you guys. These lip pencils I've had for at least 8 years, possibly even longer. I got these at the beginning of my career before I was on YouTube. I think this was like at the time when I was just starting Instagram, and I was working with Gerard Cosmetics a lot. I know the owner Jen very well. She's a dear friend. I remember her saying that the best pencils and just like the best lip liners and anything like in that pencil, sharpenable pencil category is made in Germany. These pencils are made in Germany. There has been no shift in the formula. They are just as smooth as 9 years ago. And these are the original pencils that I had then. So one of my favorites is the shade called Melrose Place. It's like the perfect match to my lip color. I'm actually wearing a little bit of it right here, you could probably tell. But right now I'm gonna go for the shade Mudslide, which is just like a beautiful brown, which will match my shirt. I'm gonna remove the other shade. One Stroke Glide. This formula is so incredible that it could probably be used as lipstick. Really easy to use, won't break. And I believe these pencils right now are on sale for $8. Originally they are $16, but right now there is a sale going on. I know this because I literally just checked. I mentioned these in my previous video, and a lot of people were like, oh my god, yes, these were and still are the best lip pencils out there. And so now I put them at the top of my stash just so I start using them more often. Because I'm not gonna lie, they got buried. They got buried in my stash of lip liners, and I forgot about them. Just such a satisfying glide. I'm just gonna feather this line in a little bit. So good. Also, this got me thinking, I usually do my monthly Faves X Fails featuring new products, but why not also mention products that I'm rediscovering? Perhaps not new products, but something that I had forgotten about and recently rediscovered. I think I should start doing that. Don't you guys agree? All right, so I think I've talked enough about faves. I must mention a fail. This one is in the lip liner category, and it is sadly the Give by Gwen Stefani Pout to Get Real Overlining Lip Pencil. I wanted to love this so badly. I wanted to love this because of the unique design. It's the super flat but curved lip pencil that is supposed to curve to the shape of your lip to give you like an easier precision tip. Unfortunately, I don't think they thought this through very well. The pencil itself, it just wasn't it. It just did not work. The pencil is too dry for the concept, and overall, I much prefer something that is easy, something that is effective, something that stands the test of time. Sorry to say it like that, but it's true. All right, in the lipstick category this month, I have a new fave. It is from Artist Couture. I already love these lipsticks. I've already talked about them so many times on so many different occasions, but they have new shades, which means more love to give. The two shades that I'm specifically loving are this shade here called Visionary, which would go perfect with this lip liner mudslide, and also the shade Forever Muse. Slightly lighter, like a more nudie shade. I'm gonna pop this one in the center. Look at that pigment. You can clearly see this applying over the lip liner. So good. And then I'm gonna take Visionary, which is the deeper shade, and I'm gonna apply this all over from the corner to the tip, like I love it. I'm gonna take a little bit more of that mudslide just to darken the corners and blend these two formulas into each other. This is like another perfect fall to holiday brown combo. I honestly can't get enough. It's just such a beautiful, rich, chocolatey type of brown. I love it. No words. All right, so now to complete my look, I'm gonna reach for this Jones Road pencil in brown. My first time using it, so this is not a fail or a fave. I have no idea. I'm assuming it's good because it's Jones Road by Bobbi Brown, the woman. And it is good. This is like a kohl pencil, so good for smudging, good for just like adding a little bit of precise color. So I'm just using that to lift my lash line a little bit so that it's not so bare. I'm just using small strokes and just gently lifting it. Not creating a wing, nothing of the sort, just a little darkening, you know? That's it. I don't want to do anything more. I want to leave the lower lash line blank. I've been liking that look a lot lately. And now I'm just going to use some mascara. I'm going to go for my favorite Cali Ray. I'm going to use my Refer Lash Curler to curl my lashes. I'm going to pop on a little bit of mascara, but not too much, just like on the tips. All right, there we go. And the look is now complete. So let me release the bangs. And here's the final look. What do we think? I'll tell you what I think. I like this look, and I may just go to that event just because I like this look. That's how it makes me feel. I really like the sophisticated elegance of these colors. This beautiful, whimsical, super shimmery green that is so complicated, but just draws you in, you know? It draws me in, which is why I am so obsessed with this Whimsical Nudes palette, because this color here is just so right. And when I find a color that I love, I just can't stop talking about it. So overall, I will say that the star player of this whole look is definitely the green eyeshadow, just because it's so fresh and it's so like wintry, but in a new sense of the word. I also really love the way that it pairs with the lipstick, with the lip liner, with the cheek, and just like with my overall vibe. I really like this look because obviously I used all of my favorite products today. I didn't have that many fails in this roundup, but that's a good thing. That means that the products have been getting better and better, and everything that I'm trying, I'm finding a way to apply it, and I'm finding a way to make it useful for me. So with that said, I'm gonna zoom on out, you guys. I'm gonna wish you a farewell. I will see you in my next video. Check out more videos over here. Peace out, and I'm out.